Imagine being just a few inches away from never touching greatness. In the 1970s, Larry Bird wasn't chasing NBA dreams. He was working as a garbage man in French Lick, Indiana, believing his future would be pouring concrete or working construction. Basketball? To him, it was just about trying to be the best player on his high school team. He never thought about being a legend. But fate had other plans. With a little luck and a coach who refused to give up on him, Larry's life changed forever. What followed was the rise of one of the purest shooters the game has ever seen. An underrated defender, a relentless rebounder at his position, and hands down one of the greatest trash talkers in NBA history. Opponents feared him, not just because of his shot, but because Larry would tell you exactly what he was about to do and then do it. Pat Riley once said, "If I had to pick one player to take a shot to save the game, I'd pick Michael Jordan. But if I had to pick someone to take a shot to save my life, I'd pick Larry Bird." That's the kind of confidence, toughness, and genius that turned a garbage man into an NBA legend.
Early life and poverty. Larry Bird was born in 1956 in the tiny town of West Baden, Indiana, right next to French Lick. He was the fourth of 6 kids in a poor family, with a father who worked construction when he could and a mother who waited tables at a local diner just to keep food on the table. Life was tough. The furnace broke down in the winter, the house was freezing, and money was always short. Sometimes Larry was sent to live with his grandmother just so his mom could manage. His father's alcoholism only made things harder, and Larry grew up surrounded by struggle. But instead of breaking him, it fueled him. Poverty became the fire that pushed him forward. He once said, "Growing up, you don't realize you don't have anything because you never had it in the first place. But once you make a little money and look back, you remember all of it, and you don't want to go back." That pain and hunger shaped Larry Bird, the garbage man kid who would one day rise from nothing to become one of the greatest legends in NBA history. Introduction to basketball. Sports were always at the center of Larry Bird's life. Every single day it was baseball, basketball, or football. There was never a pause. His older brothers were solid players themselves, and chasing them on the court sharpened Larry's edge. Younger siblings often end up tougher competitors, and Larry was no exception. By 13, standing 6 feet tall but barely 130 pounds, his father challenged him with a deal: $20 if he could make the freshman basketball team. For Larry, $20 back then felt like a fortune, enough motivation to push himself harder than ever. He practiced in the cold with sore muscles, exhausted to the bone, but he just couldn't stop. "I don't know why," he later said. "I just kept playing and playing. I guess I wanted to make the most out of it." And that relentless drive paid off. He made the team. Sure, he was only a bench warmer at first, playing in garbage minutes, but it planted the seed. The kid who once dreamed of just fitting in now had a fire that would carry him far beyond what anyone in French Lick could imagine. Learning resilience from his father. As a sophomore, Larry missed most of the year with an ankle injury, but that's when he got a life lesson that stuck with him forever. He remembered, "I was 13 or 14, my dad came home with his ankle black and blue. He needed me and my brother just to pull his boot off. He was in terrible pain. But the next morning, we helped him put the boot back on and he still went to work." That moment burned into Larry's mind. Most people would have stayed home, but his father pushed through because the family needed him. 20 years later, fans marveled at how Bird played through back pain, broken bones, and endless injuries. What they didn't know was that toughness wasn't born in the NBA, it came from watching his dad limp to work when he could barely walk. High school breakthrough and growth. Larry Bird's rise didn't start with sold-out arenas or national headlines. It began in crutches in a quiet driveway in French Lick. Even when he couldn't run, he forced himself to shoot 200 jumpers before school every single day, rain or shine. That discipline became his secret weapon. By the end of his sophomore year, when the coach unexpectedly called his number, all those lonely hours finally paid off. With the game on the line, Larry stepped to the free throw line and calmly sank the shots that won it. For the first time, his name appeared in the local paper, and that tiny taste of recognition lit a fire inside him. From then on, Bird absorbed every word his coach preached about fundamentals, practicing until the moves became muscle memory.
By junior year, he shot up to 6'3" with smoother handles and vision that made passing feel like second nature. He loved setting up teammates, finding joy in every assist. But his coach saw what Bird couldn't, that this kid had more in him. One day he told Larry, "If you don't start shooting, you're riding the bench." It was tough love, and Bird listened. That season, he transformed. No longer just a passer, but a scorer too, averaging 16 points and 9 assists. It was the first glimpse of the legend to come. A small-town garbage man's son who refused to waste his shot at greatness.
Senior year dominance. At first, Larry Bird was just a decent high school player. Nothing special, nothing legendary. His junior year was the first time he even got consistent minutes, and nobody could have predicted what was about to happen next. But then came the summer that changed everything. Larry grew 4 inches, shot up to 6'7", and suddenly he wasn't just tall, he was the tallest player on the court and also the best shooter, passer, and ball handler. On top of that, he hit the weight room, adding 40 pounds of muscle and walking into his senior season at 185 pounds, ready to dominate. And dominate he did. In the very first game, he dropped 27 points, grabbed 21 rebounds, and dished out 7 assists. Just a couple games later, he shattered the school scoring record. And even though his team lost, Larry had a realization: he could score whenever he wanted. From that moment on, he played with a different edge, a different confidence. He wasn't just competing, he was taking over. Later that season, he exploded for 55 points, 24 rebounds, and 5 assists against Corydon. And in his final home game, he put up an unreal 54 points, 38 rebounds, and 8 assists without the luxury of a three-point line. By the end of the year, Bird averaged 31 points, 21 rebounds, and 4 assists per game, numbers that felt impossible at the time. His dominance earned him a scholarship to play for the legendary Indiana Hoosiers under coach Bobby Knight, and the journey from garbage man to NBA legend was officially underway.
Struggles and return to French Lick. Larry Bird's story almost ended before it ever began. After just 4 weeks at Indiana University, he was broke, homesick, and drowning in a world that felt too big. So he quit. He went back to French Lick, enrolled at a tiny community college, but soon gave up on that too. Instead, Larry picked up a job as a garbage man, and to his surprise, he loved it. He said, "I loved that job. It was outdoors, you were around your friends picking a brush, cleaning up. I felt like I was really accomplishing something." While most people saw it as wasted potential, Larry saw pride in helping his town look better. But little did anyone know, the kid riding on the back of a garbage truck would one day rise from the streets of French Lick to the bright lights of the NBA and become a legend who would change basketball forever.
Personal tragedies and recruitment to Indiana State. Even though Larry was living a quiet life, hauling trash bags and fixing park benches, his world was about to fall apart. In 1975, when he was just 18, tragedy struck. His father, Joe Bird, took his own life. Larry was crushed. He later said he chose the way he wanted to die, and he did it. It's unfortunate that some people have problems like that, but I wish he was here. He's not, so I had to go on with my life and make the most of it. Joe had been divorced from Larry's mom, struggling with PTSD and alcoholism. Debts piled up, jobs were scarce, and in his mind, life insurance money was the only way he could still provide for his family. Joe even called his ex-wife one last time, told her she didn't have to worry about the debts anymore, then hung up and ended his life. Larry had been best friends with his dad. They spent so much time together, and that loss cut him deeper than anything he had ever felt. He felt betrayed, but also strangely respected the sacrifice, an attitude that shaped the relentless way he approached basketball for the rest of his career. But life wasn't done testing him. Around that same time, Larry got married to a girl he had known for years. It quickly turned into a disaster. The marriage collapsed, and not long after the divorce, he learned she was pregnant. She banned him from having anything to do with the baby. So picture this, between 1975 and 1976, a teenage Larry Bird quit 2 different colleges, lost his father, went through a bitter divorce, and was cut off from his own child.
He was broken, working as a garbage man in French Lick, and his dreams seemed gone before they ever started. Who knows where his story would have ended, if not for Bill Hodges. Hodges, then an assistant coach at Indiana State, had seen Larry play and knew this kid was special. He believed in him, even when Larry didn't believe in himself. Larry was hesitant. He remembered how things fell apart at Indiana University. He thought about his family's struggles, his job, the stability of just working and moving on. But Hodges refused to give up. One day he drove straight to Larry's mom's house to talk to him. Larry kept deflecting, telling him about some buddy who was really good but never got noticed because he didn't go to college. Hodges looked at him and dropped a line that hit like a punch to the gut. "Yeah, Larry, they're gonna say that about you someday." Then Hodges stood up, walked out the door, and didn't even say goodbye. It was a mic drop moment. Larry sat with those words for 2 days, and then he finally picked up the phone. He called Hodges and told him he was ready to join Indiana State. That single decision changed everything. Hodges later said, "If I hadn't been as persistent as I was, Larry Bird might never have existed in any of our minds. I believe that with all my heart." And he was right. From a garbage truck to the hardwood, Larry was about to turn his pain into purpose and his story into legend.
From a kid hauling trash in French Lick to the face of a dynasty, Larry Bird turned pain into purpose and work into greatness. He wasn't the fastest, he couldn't jump the highest, and his back screamed at him every night. Yet, he willed the Celtics to banners with IQ, toughness, and a jump shot that broke hearts. He talked his talk, hit the shots he called, and still walked out of the Garden the same humble country boy who'd rather fix his mom's driveway than flaunt a fancy car. That's the magic of this story. The garbage man who became an NBA legend, not by luck, but by stubborn belief and relentless work. If this inspired you, do me a solid, smash that like button, subscribe, and share this with a friend who needs a little Larry Legend motivation today. I've got a deep dive on the Bird Magic rivalry queued up next that you won't want to miss. Click over when you're done here. Now I want to hear from you. What's your favorite Larry moment? The left-hand game? The 60-piece in Atlanta? The which one of you is coming in second 3-point contest? Or the steal versus the Pistons? And bigger question, where do you rank Larry Bird all time? Top 5? Top 10? Drop your take in the comments. I'm hanging out down there and replying, let's talk hoops.